I don't know. I'm beginning to have some second thoughts. I'm not so sure I want to take this assignment. Conversation stops. And there's a desultory talk between them. What are the risks in freelance work and how one should really conduct oneself in trying to get jobs? And the subject drifts off. Is this progressive emotional communication? It's not. First of all, it doesn't have the saving grace of the first two. There are no feelings involved. Secondly, there's no communication there. These people could have been sitting like in a state social club across from each other reading newspapers, and every so often popping their head out and saying this comment or saying that comment and popping back. No communication. There's no more of anything. There was something like free association. And progression? There's nothing moved. There was no change of character. There was no insight. On all three accounts, this particular incident failed. And you didn't have to be a rocket scientist to know that there was something wrong. You didn't have to have the vocabulary of the word progressive to be aware, to be cognizant that something is going awry. You would know that you had deadness in the room. The first two might pass muster. The third, never. Let's take a fourth, finally. What are we looking for? We're looking for something unique, something different. Let's see what group therapy is at its best. Let's take an incident. This happened in my practice just about 6 months ago. Rob is blasting a woman. He's lumping her in with all the other women he knew. And he calls her catty, he calls her spiteful, he calls her ball breaker, he calls her a know-it-all. And he says, you're like all the women. He's yelling at her. Vicky, a very timid soul, reaches over to the beleaguered woman and says, they're only his impressions. They don't mean much. They're just his impressions. Rob shoots a look at her. And what the hell does that mean? She says, well, Rob, sometimes, you know, you come across a little uncouth. Uncouth? What's with this uncouth? A woman leans over and says, vulgar. Rob turns on Vicky. Oh, you got the words. And boy, you know how to throw them around. And you can play dictionary with me. I'm a pushover for that kind of thing. But let me tell you, I'd like to see you out there in the real world. The real world. I'm talking about the marketplace. I'd like to see you negotiate 5 tons of scrap iron. Let's see how far you get with all your big couthness. Men snicker. All right, you guys. You're laughing. But it'd be an education, a real education to see her. Little Miss Prissy here, coming across with all her couth. It'll be a big, big laugh, I'll tell you. And I'll tell you something, Prissy. In spite of all your talk, you wouldn't mind spending a night with Mr. Uncouth's big, hard, stiff. Suddenly, he sees Vicky. She's been reduced to tears. He catches himself. Okay, sorry. The group piles on him. He's not only uncouth, Vicky's been 2 nights with him. He's a lout. He's a bore. He's a goon. He's a gorilla. He's taken aback. I said I was sorry. A woman, she turns and said, how many times have you stumped on a woman and said you were sorry? How many? Sorry is sorry. What do you want, a pint of blood? Vicky speaks up. What we want is for you to say what you really feel. I'll tell you what I feel like. I feel I can never say anything right in this goddamn group. That's what I feel. Women pounce on him again. That's not a feeling. I don't know. Just let me alone. I don't know anymore. Vicky looks at him quietly and says, Rob, you feel frustrated. You feel like you stepped on something and you broke it and you don't know how to fix it. And it makes you feel bad. And you also feel a little hurt because nobody here quite understands. Yeah. You know, I kind of get upset. Then I lose it. Then I run away with myself. I can't get back again. It gives me all kinds of grief. Vicky says, it doesn't always have to happen. It doesn't always have to be that way. Rob stares at her. You know, I never met anybody like you. Then why don't you listen to me or what I say? Just hear me. I guess I don't want to feel put down. Rob, I'd never put you down. With tears in eyes, he looks at her. No? I don't think you would. I don't think so. Observe. They started with one feeling, they ended up with another feeling. A relationship that was antagonistic to begin with ended up melded together. A group really that was about to really strangle this guy ended up with riveted attention on him. Something happened. There was feeling. There was interaction. One speech built on the other speech. One idea led to another idea. One feeling followed another feeling. There was real interactive communication. Progression? My gosh. This is what progressive communication is all about. This is group therapy at its best. It transforms personalities. It realigns reactions people have. It cuts a swath through rigidity. It's the stuff of which great plays are made of. It's what gives enhanced radiance to a relationship. And for us, as group therapists, it is what really basically enlivens our group. Gives it the kind of vitality and zest. It's what we're all about. It melts resistances. No matter how entrenched or intractable. It sweeps people along. It makes for success in treatment. How do we bring this all about? How do we make sure this kind of thing happens on a kind of regular basis? What are the tools? Well, the first and foremost tool we have for fostering and maintaining progressive emotional communication is bridging. Bridging is a process of connecting people together in ways they would not have connected before, under conditions they would not have considered. Most of the blocks that people create against progressive emotional communication crumble under the power of identification. When you see it, and the person sees it or she sees it, then they spot, oh, was I doing that? You've made a tremendous giant step. And one of the best ways of taking that step is through bridging. Now, we have all kinds of bridging. Somebody has really identified about 13 or 14 of them. But in this case, in progressive emotional communication, we only look at two. One is similarity bridge. That is, you see a likeness between people. And the other one is a reactive bridge. It's the reactive bridge we were interested in. The reactive bridge is an incident is going on, an atmosphere is being created, a climate is being introduced into this group, and somebody in the group has a visceral reaction to it.